Hello, I am Lee Xinyuan, a Huawei instructor. Having discussed VLAN device upgrades, let's now talk about configuring Fat APs. We have Thin APs, Fit APs, and also Fat APs. Let's look at how to configure what's called a Fat AP. Huawei APs support both Fat AP and Fit AP modes, which are integrated thin and fat functionalities. In smaller network setups, we can use Fat AP mode. This Fat AP mode is akin to combining an AC and an AP together, like this mode. Our home wireless routers are somewhat similar to this mode. As the customer's network expands, a single AP's management capabilities may become insufficient. Then, we need to use a separate AC to manage these APs. Later on, with AC plus AP setups, we can use FIT AP instead of Fat AP, that is, use a Thin AP. With this AC plus AP setup, we need to switch the working mode of the AP from Fat AP to Fit AP. This is the so-called dual mode AP. Our AP is compatible with both operating modes. Remember this. Now, let's see how to switch operating modes. Similarly, 4 steps. Environment preparation, check information, start switching, check after switching. This is our networking topology. We can connect the computer directly to the AP via a console cable, or connect the computer to a switch via an Ethernet port, and then connect the switch to the AP. This PoE indicates that the AP is powered via the network port from the switch, which is known as Power over Ethernet. Next, let's look at the detailed steps. Once we've connected the cables and can log into the AP normally, we can directly use AP mode switch FAT to make the switch. This is similar to the upgrade process we went through earlier, where we load our AP software onto our AP. Then, the following is our FTP URL. Admin is the username. Huawei is the password. This is how to switch between Fat and Fit AP, with the middle part being the name of the file, which is a very long name. After entering this command, the system will ask us if it needs to restart to enter Fat AP mode, and we type Y to confirm. Thus, our device will start to reboot, and after rebooting, it will enter Fat AP mode. After the device has successfully rebooted, we can check with Display version. Here, our device has become a Fat AP, followed by our software version, showing how to switch our device from Thin AP to Fat AP. After switching, we need to configure it because ultimately we want to use it to run services, right? So the first step is to enter the WLAN protocol view, then configure the country code, CN for China. After configuring, we need to create a VAP template, the name of the virtual AP template. After entering the template, the first thing we configure is a service VLAN, where we set our own VLAN ID, which is the first item required in the VAP profile, the service VLAN. Next, we return to the WLAN interface to configure the security template and reference it. In our VAP, we have configured the service VLAN, and now we need to configure a security template and incorporate it into the VAP, which is the second step. The third step is to configure the SSID template. Here, we set an SSID called SSID, which is the name of the Wi-Fi that users can find when they are connecting. Typically, when we use Wi-Fi, if we go to a restaurant, for example, you might ask the waiter, which one is your Wi-Fi? That is the SSID. After setting up the SSID template, we need to import it into the VAP profile. Now we have a VAP profile that includes a service VLAN, a security template, and an SSID template. Having completed these, we need to enter the WLAN's RF interface and incorporate the VAP template we just created. With that, our basic configuration is complete, and this diagram shows a simple Layer 2 network architecture for a Fat AP. Let's consider this as a case study. First, the DHCP server. Since we can't allow users to set IP addresses themselves, neither manageable nor convenient, we use this switch to act as the DHCP server for the users. Since we have a DHCP server, we also need an address pool. The address pool ranges from 1, 100.2 to 1.100.254. Where did 100.1 go? It's set as the gateway on our switch. Then the SSID template with a name, which is Huawei. Note, these two Huaweis are different. The top Huawei is the name of the SSID template. The lower Huawei is the SSID, that is, the name of your Wi-Fi that users can find. Then the second security template, our name, also called Huawei. Then we can use some security strategies. These strategies will be explained in our later lessons, and then set a password. After setting the SSID and security template, we need to set up the VAP template. Remember, the VAP template includes three things: a service VLAN, an SSID template, and a security template. These three templates must be configured within our VAP template. So this is our basic data configuration, our basic data planning. Now let's look at how to perform the specific configurations. First, of course, connect the AP to the switch, linking GE000 of the AP with GE001 of the switch. Next, we need to make some configurations on the switch. First, on the switch, we start the DHCP service, as our switch acts as a DHCP server. Then we create a virtual interface, VLAN 100. On this virtual interface, we input the first address of the second segment of DHCP as the gateway address. This command sets up this VLAN interface as our choice for the DHCP server interface. Then we exit. Thus, our DHCP setup is completed. Next, we need to create a security template and SSID, which we looked at briefly before, but now let's examine it more closely. After creating the security template, we establish the specific parameters within the security template passphrase, which is our password. This one uses encryption, and then this is an encryption algorithm. After configuring, exit, then create our SSID template. This is relatively simple. The SSID is just Huawei, then after creation, exit. Next step, remember, the VAP template. Whenever you think of the VAP template, remember three things: service VLAN, security profile, security template, and the SSID template. Whenever you think of the VAP template, you must remember these three things. After all the above steps are completed, we need to enter our two RF interfaces. After entering, bind the VAP template to them. After all these operations, we can find a wireless network named Huawei. Then enter the password, the one we just set. After successfully connecting, we can look at Display Station All, which allows us to see all currently online users. This shows the user that we just logged in. This is the IP address assigned to the user, and here the frequency band is 5G. It uses the 802.11ac protocol. This concludes our basic Fat AP configuration process. Finally, a question for reflection, which we have also mentioned before. Why do we need to upgrade software on devices? There are four options: A, B, C, D. A, fix system vulnerabilities, which is correct. B, optimize system resources. This is also correct. C, add new features. Yes, because many features are based on software, and new features can be implemented through software updates. D, increase forwarding performance. This is incorrect. Our forwarding performance relies more on hardware. If we do not change the hardware, it is very difficult to increase forwarding performance through software upgrades alone. Thus, this option is incorrect. For this question, we choose A, B, and C. In this lecture, we discussed two important topics. One is VRP. VRP is Huawei's operating system, typically presented through a command line interface. It is similar to operating systems like Linux. Although it is not graphical, it is still an operating system, and we also have a graphical interface that can be accessed via the web to enter our VRP operating system. Everyone should familiarize themselves with VRP operations, including basic configurations and file system operations. To proficiently handle Huawei devices, familiarity with VRP is essential. The second main topic of this chapter is the upgrade methods for AC and AP in WLAN networks. You all remember the upgrade method for the AC, right? Just upload our software to the AC and then set this software as the operating system for the next startup. For the upgrade method of the AP, similarly, we need to download the software to the AC and then find the AP version that needs to be upgraded on the AC. Then we can execute some commands on the AC to upgrade the AP. Upgrading the AP is done via the AC, and upgrading the AC is also performed on the AC itself. Then we also introduced the configuration of the Fat AP. The configuration of my Fat AP mainly involves the following aspects. First is DHCP. We need a DHCP server to assign IP addresses to users. Then we need to create the VAP template, right? After creating the VAP template, in the VAP template we need to bind the SSID template, security template, and service VLAN, right? After all these things are done, we finally bind our VAP template to the radio interface. Then finally our users can successfully log in. In the next class, I will give you a detailed explanation of WLAN security knowledge. Thank you, everyone.